gentlemen and home viewers, welcome to the Saloon, site of this year's Youth of the Year speech competition and awards ceremony. As sponsored by Norristown Exchange Club, I am Mike Handwork, your host for this evening's program. I would now like to introduce the judging panel, courtesy of Valley Forge Toastmasters International, a public speakers organization. This year's three-membered panel consists of Mr. Jack McGinley, the president of the club. Jack, stand up. Mr. Cass DeQuickheel. And Mr. Bill Courtney. Gentlemen, thank you for donating your time and expertise for tonight's program. I would now ask the judges to assume their positions for proper viewing of the competition. While the judges are reseating themselves, I would also like to introduce the faculty, advisors, and administrators representing the area high schools. We have with us this evening the principal of Norristown High School, Mr. Barry Spencer. This year's student advisor for Norristown is Miss Rosemary Zuma. From Bishop Kenrick, he's not here this evening, but we would have had Mr. Joseph McNamara. Joe sends his best wishes to all the students. This year's student advisor, Kenrick, is Sister Mary Mark. I wish to personally thank each of you for helping to organize another successful Youth of the Year program. I now would like to take a moment to explain to everyone the main objectives and benefits associated with this program. This youth-related exchange club activity is created for young people with worthwhile, uplifted incentives, thus providing public recognition to the youth displaying superior qualities of academic skills and overall personalities conducive to well-rounded educational achievements. By focusing public attention on the worthy achievements of outstanding youth, the Exchange Club can inspire other young individuals to strive for similar recognition. As a result, the program will encourage good citizenship, enthusiasm for worthwhile extracurricular activities, development of well-rounded personalities, the desire for greater scholastic achievement, and the determination to acquire higher education among all the youth of our community. Tonight's program endeavors to stimulate the youth present towards the attainment of their highest goals. Each student involved in this year's program has attained honorable, if not outstanding, status at their respective high schools, and all are respected by their teachers and fellow students. Consequently, there is no real loser from tonight's proceedings. However, like any competition, a selection of a winner and runners-up is a simple and satisfying necessity. It is with this in mind that the following format has been adopted for tonight's program. Each student will present a 4 to 5 minute oral speech on a predetermined subject matter and will be judged on all facets of their presentation and content material. Once all the students have finished, a tallying of the judging ballots will provide for a first, second, and third place finish, plus 3 runners-up. The top 3 students will be awarded $100, $75, and $50 savings respectively, with all students receiving Youth of the Year certificates. Each student will be introduced without mention to which school they are attending, for obvious reasons for unbiased judging for each student school participant. Also, the order of presentation has been randomly chosen prior to dinner. Since the students have had time to prepare their speeches on a particular subject matter of my choice, I would now like to share with this evening's audience the presentation subject for this year's student speeches. Using the Exchange Club's Covenant of Service as a guideline, describe what kind of goals and endeavors are necessary to help today's youth prepare for a brighter tomorrow. What parallels can be drawn involving the spirit and competition of the 1988 Olympic Games and the future development of our youth in America. Well, I think it's time I relinquish the floor to our student contestants with a good luck to all our participants in this year's Youth of the Year program. Introducing our first student participant, Robert McMullen, Jr.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The youth of today are the future of tomorrow. The most important factor in the success of future generations is the preparation which takes place at an early age. It is then that the ideas and dreams of tomorrow are formulated, with hope that they mature and become reality. This is not an easy task. Young men and women need direction and guidance, and most importantly, they need to endeavor beyond their imagination and set goals to force them to strive to be their very best. Teens lead a diverse lifestyle and face challenge after challenge in every aspect. It is very important that they maintain a positive attitude in each and that their philosophy remains consistent. There are certain basic rules which will assist young people in pursuing these values. One must give 100% effort to each endeavor. Modern has made life in the 20th century very easy, but today's teens must strive harder to create a brighter tomorrow. Study hard, be involved, take risks. This is a fundamental rule for Olympic competition. In 1968, if Bob Beamon had given only 98%, he may not have set a world record in the long jump, which still stands today. There is no doubt that the world-class status achieved through the Olympic Games is not a part-time effort. However, as any athlete would be willing to admit, achieving greatness cannot be accomplished alone. Therefore, it is necessary to acknowledge those who are along the way. Young people owe a great deal to parents, teachers, and employers. Without them, a teenager's life will become a world of ignorance and a collection of missed opportunity. Without their endeavors, who knows what state the world would be in today? In the same manner, Olympic athletes know that without their trainers and coaches, the road to the Olympics would be unnavigable. But the Olympics would be nothing without rules to compete by. Just as Olympic athletes, today's youth must also understand and abide by all rules and laws. Regulations are established for everyone's benefit and to ensure that it proceed fairly and efficiently. What would the world of sports be without rules? What would happen if it made no difference if rules were constantly being broken? Competition would lose its meaning. Therefore, it is necessary that athletes and teenagers honor the rules and regulations established to protect them. Part of following the rules is being a good sport. The only thing worse than a poor loser is a poor winner, and no one likes to be around an obnoxious classmate or fellow employee. The same holds true in any sport. How memorable are the sportsmanship and camaraderie of the men's 1984 gymnastic team, the friends of Mitch Gaylord and Kurt Thomas, and the supportive attitude of the entire team. In their case, their efforts paid off with gold medals. Courteousness and good sportsmanship are definitely essential to being well-liked and heading toward a brighter tomorrow. Just as important is the need to constantly be searching for ways to improve oneself and one's surroundings. Alone or with others, this practice is the key to defeating world hunger and to world peace. Truly, what a better world it would be if everyone made an honest effort to improve themselves and their environment. And it must start within the young individual. The words to a current song by Michael Jackson say it like this: I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. From the individual, this feeling must spread through society. And as a group, the youth of today can create a much brighter future together. This idea alone embodies the spirit of the Olympic Games. Each athlete competes for personal glory and achievement, but each individual success constitutes greater success for the nation which that person represents. And each successful Olympiad paves the way toward a more peaceful existence of all men through athletic competition. And now, if only wars could be fought with sports. Who knows what records could be set in competition over the Middle East or Nicaragua? If all the energy could be put into running a mile or throwing the discus, instead of pulling a trigger or throwing a grenade. But how can a teenager take these rules and ideas and make it work for himself? There is one unifying theme. Through it all, believe in yourself. Goals differ for everybody and must die, but know that they can be achieved. Dream the impossible dream. Right the unwritable wrong. It can be done. It is a burning desire which should be instilled in the hearts and minds of every person that enters this world. To the Olympian, it is years of training and practice, total commitment, and the belief that he is capable of every inch, of every second, of every lap, of every point, of every dream. and that as long as there is that belief, nothing can stand in the way. To the student, it is the knowledge that whatever his chosen field, its pinnacle is within grasp, as long as he believes it so. Again, it is a burning desire for all that inspires greatness in all men. And if every person had such a flame, there is no doubt that each tomorrow would be brighter than today. Goals and endeavors are necessary, but each individual must decide where his interests lie. There is no proven formula for success. However, every individual must believe in his own abilities. My own feelings mirror those of Don Quixote. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. And the world would be better for this, that one man still strove with his last ounce of courage to the unreachable star. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I would now ask the judges to ballot their scores without totaling them and to raise their hand when finished. So our audience knows the judges are using are a standard version used by Toastmasters International at almost all speech competition their members are involved in or with.
We must learn to work with other people to achieve bigger and better things. And we must do all of this in an honorable fashion, setting good examples and recognizing those who have helped us along the way. To achieve any goal, one must be optimistic, have his priorities straight, keep an open mind, and perhaps most importantly, not be afraid to take a risk. When faced with a challenge, one cannot turn it down in fear of failing. Failure teaches success. Churton Collins said, "Success in ordinary life." Its purpose was to provide a better understanding of the business and government world, acquaint us with technology and how it affects our lives, and help us develop personal career goals. The director, Mr. Robert Teakin, said, "After 4 days with these students, America's future is in good hands." One should take advantage of leadership conferences of this type. Not only did it teach business and government skills, but also the importance of working with other people, people from different lifestyles and backgrounds. We are building bridges into the future, some of which will be completed, others just barely started. Some may reach to our future, but what about the generations to follow? This image is captured in The Bridge Builder by Will Allen Drumgoll, which ends with, "There follows after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that was not for me, to that fair-haired lad may a pitfall be. For he too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge." One aspect that was very prominent in this year's Olympics was recognition. Athletes gave credit where credit was due, recognizing coaches, trainers, friends, and parents who helped them make it to the Olympics. Debbie Thomas serves as a perfect example. It was mentioned time and time again how her mother drove so many miles a day to get her to and from practice, or how her coach stood by her through her glory as well as her defeat. These athletes are building bridges for tomorrow. They're setting a standard to reach for and often serve as role models for all of us, not just other athletes. They're also building bridges between the countries. The spirit of competition truly is being represented at these games. The Olympic rings symbolize this unity. The covenant of service which the Exchange Club promotes is one which we should all live by. While all of these are good values to follow, it is my feeling that two of them are imperative: lift social, religious, political, and business ideals, and to serve in unity with those seeking better conditions, better understanding, and greater opportunity for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Judges, your scoring responses, please. If you do say it. next student participant is Ellen Hollywood.
A brighter tomorrow. I'm sure this is something we all want for ourselves and for the young people of the future. A brighter tomorrow will not be easy to attain. All of us assembled here tonight must make a conscious effort to be all that we can to make tomorrow better than today. With the use of the Exchange Club's Covenant of Service and the lessons learned about hope and dreams from the athletes in the Olympic Games, we can get some concrete ideas as to what we can do to ensure a brighter tomorrow. First, we must further our social, religious, and political ideals. We cannot accept anything that is less than best. A social injustice like discrimination, which hurts all mankind, must be ended. Religious affiliation we are, the world can be made a better place by the living out of our faiths. The citizens of the world should join together in a mass effort to use their cultural differences to make peace a reality. Just as we should not accept limitations to our goals, the athletes in the Olympic Games in Calgary demand the best from themselves. Whether or not the athlete wins the gold is not as important as if he did his best. The Olympics also help to narrow the gaps that exist between countries through the friendships and kindnesses shown by the athlete and another. The athletes don't let their individual government's problems interfere with the spirit and competition of the Games. Another key to a brighter tomorrow is the value of our own privilege of citizenship. The right to vote should be utilized to its fullest extent. We must never forget those who sacrificed much, especially their lives, in macabre wars all throughout our United States history, so that the people of the future could be free. The citizens of all the many countries participating in the Games realize their privileges and work extremely hard to represent their country. They also remember the true spirit of the Games, peace. They may look back at the first Games held in Greece to see that warring nations had to call a truce to participate in these Games. This example of practical peacemaking can serve as a message of goodwill to athletes of rival countries today. By following and keeping the law, we can also build a brighter tomorrow. Citizens can join together in a program such as Neighborhood Watch to help end crime. Students playing by the rules in things such as high school sports, regulations at their jobs, and respecting those in authority within their families and schools can also put a brighter tomorrow within our reach. We must also join together to help those less fortunate than ourselves. By feeding our homeless and helping people cope with problems in their lives, we can uplift our country and may make other countries want to follow in our footsteps. The Olympic hopefuls follow the rules of their sport, which sets a good example for young people. Even if an individual should lose an event, this athlete will heartily acknowledge the winner, knowing that they did their own personal best in the game. The building up of service and comradeship can make for a better tomorrow. We can put others first and make helping others a priority. We can't let our days slip by without helping those who have a hard time in life. To look beyond our own needs to the needs of others to make their lives brighter cannot fail to help us in our own life's journey. We have to appreciate our friends and never take their gift of friendship for granted. We can look to the teamwork of the Olympic athletes to see how they appreciate teammates. These are people who don't look for personal gain. They are happiest when the team does well, regardless as to whether or not they receive individual praise. An example is the goalie who doesn't say that he is great, but says that the unity of the hockey team is what makes the whole group do well. We must also support those who are working for better conditions, understandings, and opportunities for their fellow man. Working together with all the nations of the world, we can put an end to poverty, hunger, ignorance, and discrimination. We see the future as a pathway to a better life for all of us, a future where no one dies of starvation, or is tortured for their beliefs, or is discriminated against for reasons as ludicrous as the color of their skin, their religion, or their nationality. The Olympic athletes aren't discriminatory towards people from other nations. They build lifelong friendships, and cultural differences are celebrated, not scorned. Many countries' athletes wear native costumes to show their pride in their culture and the acceptance of other cultures. My wish is that we can take some of these points to heart and see the spirit of the Olympic Games in each other. These extraordinary games may take place only once every 4 years, but the spirit and hope behind them can last a lifetime. Thank you.
For Exchange Club members, there is a board of directors at King Clark's home, March 17th at 8 p.m. with all members welcome. In April, we have a dinner meeting on April 14th here at the saloon for a program concerning the club's continuing participation in the prevention of child abuse. And this is a program which involves all exchange clubs throughout America. Also in April, another board of directors meeting, this time at Walt Paquette's on the 1st. Our next student contestant is Linda Wu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Youth, a time when we must decide for our future. Yes, a very critical time indeed. It is when we are most highly impressionable, we are influenced by TV, music, and fashion. But it is the media that plays an important role in our lives since it keeps us informed of world news ranging from political to religious events. The majority of American youth are less concerned in any political, religious, or business events unless there's some scandal involved. I'm not implying that teenagers are not interested in world news, since some might find other important things to do. But the fact is most youths are idle when asked to pick up a paper. It is of little importance to them, which is contrary, since it not only keeps a person well informed, but broadens knowledge, increases aptitude, and offers some things a history course wouldn't provide. All of these are essential for present and future social life in order to embark in a system of true communication. In the business world, it will help their perception of what causes the market to rise and fall. It'll help a person when asked to express his opinions on any occurrence instead of being left out in the cold if he has no idea of what he's asked. For example, an employer might ask both of his employees a question expecting a reasonable opinion. The employee who is up to date with work-related events will receive more favorability than the other employee who rarely observes current events and is therefore left in a tough situation with no logical answers. Politically, we the young should understand how our system. The government in this country is marked by a stable condition when compared to other countries full of corruption. Some have wars going on every day, others are poverty-stricken. And yet there are those where some subvert against their government in places such as the Middle East and Asia. I am glad to live here and be an American because I have freedom, equal rights, and many privileges that weren't offered to my ancestors. Although I'm American and Chinese, I follow some of my old traditions by revering my elders, for it is they who steer direction. Some students, ashamed of their parents' background, origin, or religion, concealed by prevarication. Family values is what we're made of, which brings us here, and we're a gift of our past, present, and future. America, a great country where there is a given opportunity to strive for success because every skill is needed to help our country grow. But to remain strong, teens and others must obey the law. The law is to protect us and let people live in a world of peace. Peace. It is a time of serenity, friendship, and understanding, occurring at times during the Olympics when the 5 Olympian rings connecting together bears the symbol that the continents unite together as one. It is our team that we must depend on to make us stand above the rest. The teams work so hard all their lives, only to achieve the rare opportunity to compete in the Olympic Games. But for what? For a medal? Possibly a gold? That is how we as spectators perceive it, but to the athletes it's an honor to compete. With a medal, the athletes come home to open arms. What they have done is not to show they received the fastest time, but display the love of their country. The athletes' work, endurance, and self-motivation are what must be realized. Although the 1988 Winter Olympic Games at Calgary wasn't the best for our country, the games were smooth, and that proved to be a success. As for the upcoming Summer Olympics in Seoul, Korea, we must overlook the political turmoil between the North and the South. Be neither pessimistic nor optimistic, but let's expect the bad side, but then look forward to the good side. By doing this, we are demonstrating to our youth that when striving to achieve a goal, realize that winning is not always important, and do the best. This is what the spirit and competition of the Olympics teaches. The future of America lies within the hands of our youth, who should understand every aspect of current issues. Respect those who have helped through thick and thin. Look at both sides of every situation, and most of all, when achieving a goal, remember that it is anticipation that makes you drive forward and move ahead. To follow these guidelines might improve today's youth for tomorrow's future. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. There are two dates everyone should have circled on their calendars: April 26th and November 8th. Beginning with the first paragraph of the Exchange Club's Covenant of Service, which states that we will consecrate our best energies to the uplifting of social, religious, political, and business ideals. Please exercise your right to vote this election year of 1988. It benefits all people and creates a democracy for our future generations. Next, I would like to introduce John Conte.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. To a youth, the future can be frightening, and preparing for tomorrow is not an easy task, because no one knows what the future has in store for them. However, if the youth of today emulate Olympic athletes by setting goals and striving to reach them, they'll be prepared for the future. As do athletes, students must follow the Exchange Club's Covenant of Service to become better people. It is important to see the parallels between Olympians and students and realize how they really are. If we realize that we are not much different from Olympic athletes, we can look at them, see their goals and dreams in action, and realize that we can also achieve success. By doing so, we can make a brighter tomorrow for ourselves. Olympic athletes and students alike must work hard in order to attain success in their lives. Olympians are an incentive to the youth of today because the incredible joy an Olympic athlete visibly experiences demonstrates to students that hard work is worthwhile. The self-motivation and determination of all the athletes that participate in the Olympics is also visible, and teaches students that an athlete can compete for enjoyment alone instead of for first place. The youth of today are similar to Olympians in many ways. As an athlete, one must start at an early age and train hard in order that he or she may gradually move up to a higher level of performance. Similarly, a student must establish good study habits at an early age to further his or her education, because education is the key to a brighter tomorrow. In spite of rigorous training, Dan Jansen, the Olympic speed skater, fell during both his 500 and 1,000 meter speed skating races. Even after Dan's defeat, he returned to Calgary to support his teammates in their races. Like Jansen, we too can conclude that failure is a learning experience and should not defeat or discourage us, but instead help us to grow and mature. Wayne and Susan Siebold, the U.S. figure skating pair, did not win their competition. Yet it was evident to the viewer that they enjoyed participating in the Olympics. From them we can learn that winning is not everything. What is more important is how much you enjoy what you are doing. The Exchange Club's Covenant of Service has a lesson in it for all of us. This Covenant of Service describes an exchangeite as one who must honor and respect the law and serve his fellow men. The athlete must also do so, to be a good example for others. He or she must be disciplined. Discipline is just as important to the youth of today. A student must have self-discipline in his studies and social activities in order to gain more freedom and responsibility at home and in school. When athletes and students show respect for the law, they in turn gain respect. In doing so, they free themselves in order to perform to the best of their abilities. An exchange must also a life-giving, society-building spirit of service and comradeship in social relationships. Fulfilling this passage of the covenant of service is essential for the youth of today because of the importance of friends. Friends help us through bad times, experience our good times with us. Most of all, we learn from our friends. For today's youth, sports are important because they help us to form close bonds and to develop a special camaraderie with our teammates. The Olympic speed skating team showed the world the bond they had. When Dan Jansen's sister died of leukemia, and the team dedicated their performances to his sister, Dan Jansen was quoted as saying, "I don't know how I would have handled my sister's death if the team was not there for me." The youth of today need not look toward the future in fear if they have prepared themselves for it. If we, like the Olympic athletes, live our lives by the Olympic motto, faster, higher, stronger, we're continually striving to be the best person we can be, and working harder to attain success in our lives, and learning and growing from our defeats as well as our victories, by respecting and honoring the law and forming close bonds with people in our daily lives, there will be a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
While we are waiting, here's some food for thought. From Galileo, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him to find it within himself. It is obvious that these students are on their way to finding themselves. Also, a closing remark by Mr. Frank King of the 1988 Calgary Olympic Organization Committee. To the youth of our nations, the future of the world depends on you. Let us hope the millions of people, Frank King, and witnessed this comment that he made, truly believe in the ability of today's youth and the impact they will have on tomorrow's world. Our final student participant is Dominique Ponzio.
Imagine picking up the classified section of the newspaper and reading, "Wanted, hard-working, ambitious, respectful youths to prepare for a brighter tomorrow." How could we, the youth of America, answer this ad? First of all, we need to set goals for ourselves. We must strive for what America's for: truth, justice, and freedom. We must work towards a positive future. But what will a brighter tomorrow mean? Will it mean all the nations of the world sharing a peace? Will it mean nuclear disarmament or more technological advances? The choice is ours, for we are the ones who will shape our world. That is why it is most important for youth to have a good perspective of themselves, to find out who they are and what they stand for. A quote by Alan Ashley Pitt said, quote, "You have two choices in life. You can dissolve in the mainstream, or you can be distinct. To be distinct, you must be different. To be different, you must strive to be what no one else but you can be," unquote. This quote appeals to me because it says, hey, it's okay to be an individual, to be yourself. With today's peer pressures from drugs and alcohol, it is sometimes difficult to be your own person. But there are helpers and supporters to pick you up when you fall or begin to stumble. It is important to know that there is always someone you can turn to, be it your mom, your best friend, or God. Using the Exchange Club's Covenant of Service as a guideline, we can get a better idea of the goals towards which we should strive. We must direct our energies positively in upholding society's ideals. We should look for and reach out to a brighter tomorrow. Just knowing and believing the sun will shine tomorrow and the next day is a step in the right direction. If today's a little cloudy, remember the old cliche about silver linings, and know the sun will come up again. We must be optimistic. Let's see the cup as half full, not half empty. In in helping others as others have helped us, and in serving in unity with those seeking to better our world. We should continue our education, stay informed of current events, and most importantly, keep an open mind. We can support a peaceful movement like a pro-life march, read the newspaper to better understand our nation's, or simply listen when someone is speaking. To honor and respect the law and to serve our fellow men, we should understand our laws, question them when we think something is wrong, and support a campaign when we think it is right. Lastly, in spreading the spirit of service and comradeship in our daily lives, we should reach out and touch someone. Participating in activities like Hands Across America, my school's Community Service Corps, visiting a local nursing home, and helping to serve the poor of Norristown during Lent have helped me spread the spirit of service and comradeship. International efforts through Live Aid and the Amnesty International organization continue to implant this spirit for a better world. Today, in 1988, it is not so easy to say no or to stand up for what we believe in. The 1988 Olympics are a perfect modern example of what we should be striving to achieve. In an opening ceremony speech, Olympic official Frank King described the Games as a powerful push to a peaceful world. Just as the athletes compete for golden glory, so must we, the youth, strive for the glory of peace and love. It takes sacrifice, hard work, discipline, and determination to be in the Olympics. These are factors we will need in preparing for a brighter tomorrow. In the opening celebration of the Games, 10 to 12-year-old Canadian children formed the Dove of Peace as a symbol of what the Games are all about. Symbolizing youth, 7th grader Robin Perry lit the Olympic torch. We, the youth of the world, are tomorrow and also today. During the opening ceremony of the Olympics, pigeons are released, symbolically to fly to countries of the world with the news that the Games are open. We too can be messengers to the world, messengers of peace, truth, and justice. For a brighter tomorrow, we need to have honesty. We need to be true to ourselves, our families, and our friends. We want tomorrow's brightness to be strong, a real light, one that will shine for generations to come. So isn't it time we began answering that want ad? Be assured, today's headlines won't be yesterday's news. They will be tomorrow's future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I would like to, after finishing their scoring, to submit the results to Bob Mayberry at my right for the final tally. While the judges and Bob are tabulating the results, I would like to share with everyone some of the accomplishments and activities of each student participant here this evening. These activities could be for their school and or their community, and also would like to share with you some of the future goals and ambitions that each student has. Robert McMullen, Jr. Robert is an active student at Norristown Area High School as a member of the National Honor Society, treasurer of the class of 1988, and as vice president of Key Club. His greatest interests, however, lie in the area of performing. Rob can be found near the stage almost every day of the week, singing, dancing, acting, or playing the piano. He has played leading roles in 12 productions at the high school. His most recent parts were Christy in The Playboy of the Western World and Don Quixote in Man of La Mancha. He has also performed in community theater. Rob has backstage experience as well. He is stage crew chief and has designed lights for 5 productions. He also appears every week on the Eagle News, the NAHS school news program. After winning the Presidential Scholarship and the Theater Department Scholarship, Rob will attend Allentown College of St. Francis de Sales in the fall as a theater major. Rob? Julianne Heckman. Her activities have included National Honor Society, 10th through 12th grade, and is president of 12th grade, Who's Who among American high school students, 86, 87. Plastic All-American for this year, honor roll. Student Council, 9th through 12th grades, Secretary in 10th grade, President in 11th grade. The PASC State Conference 1985 Leadership Workshop. Town meeting on tomorrow, 1987, she represented her class. Student Forum, 10th through 12th grade, is the junior representative in 11th grade. Class Congress, 9th through 12th grade. Interclub Council this year. Interact, Rotary International in 11th grade, and she's this year's president. The N Club through 10th through 12th grade and was vice president in 11th and senior year. Other senior activities include Key Club, Eagle News, Spice Staff, Talent Staff, Spring Musical, and she also has participated in basketball. Community service has been varied. Volunteer work at the Norristown State Hospital, the Spring Fleeing for the Sunshine Foundation, the Kaplan Test for St. Jude's Hospital, and as a coach for the East Norriton's Biddy League Basketball League. Julie's goals and ambitions include work at IMS America for the summer and attending either Villanova or Susquehanna University in the fall as an accounting major. Julie? Ellen Felicia Polywoda, her 11th grade junior at Bishop Kenrick High School. Her activities, SADD, Students Against Drunk Driving, CSC, which is the Community Service Corps, the school newspaper, which is the Shield. Awards, St. Francis of Assisi Service Award in 8th grade. School achievements, honor courses in English and theology, and is ranked in the top 20 of her class. Job experience, working at Sears Roebuck since June of 1987. Travel experience, she's traveled to South Africa, Mexico, and the Caribbean, and these experiences have enriched Ellen's understanding of and appreciation for other cultures. Her future plans to attend Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science and to pursue a career in fashion or journalism. Ellen? Judges, do you have the tally sheets? Could you please submit them to Bob? Linda Wu, senior at Norristown High School. Her school activities include art editor of the yearbook, Spice, the fashion editor of the newspaper, the tennis team, FBLA, and senior class Congress alternate. Future goals and ambitions: to attend either Syracuse University, Drexel, the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, and to major in fashion design. She would like to try a brief career in theater, but later would like to pursue a lifetime career designing in Paris, Milan, or New York. Linda? John Conti, junior at Bishop Kenrick High School. Awards have included the American Legion Certificate Award, National Spelling Bee participant, Devon Prep Speech Contest finalist, Basketball All-Star Team, Baseball All-Star Team, and MVP of that game, MVP of Epiphany Baseball and Basketball Team, John Hopkins SAT Student Search participant, Student Council as in 8th grade as a vice president. Other awards and activities include varsity football, varsity track, student council representative, National Honor Society member, connections member, qualified for college courses and high school program. Job experience, works at DEC, which is the Developmental Educational Corporation, worked in the snack stand at the Norristown Zoo and on Harding Boulevard, and a salesman at We 3 Pets. His future endeavors include attending a four-year college and possibly medical school. John? Dominique Ponzio, 11th grader, Bishop Kenrick High School. Student activities is the Student Council, National Honor Society, School newspaper, Community Service Corps, and Students Against Drunk Driving. In the community service, she's the CYO Youth Group, lector at Visitation Parish, presently works at the Parish Rectory and at Wendy's. Awards, participated in National Spelling Bee. She has won local and participated in regional Optimist oratorical contests, competed on national level in Garden Club speech contests. She's Bishop Kendrick's representative at Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Seminar, participated in Pennsylvania's Junior Academy of Science competition for 3 years and has received 2 second-place awards. Her future plans include to attend a good four-year college and the major in public relations. Dominique? Thank you, students, for sharing with us your present and future goals in life. It's a distinct pleasure to know such a fine group of young men and women. Norristown Exchange Club wishes to you the best at whatever you undertake and accomplish. We know you will succeed. I would now like to present Youth of the Year certificates to advisors for this outstanding group of students. Would Rosemary Zumo and Sister Mary Mark please come forward? Rosemary, thank you for your help in presenting such a fine group of students for all of us to see this evening. We appreciate your involvement with the youth of our community. Thanks. Next, I will present certificates of appreciation to our 3 judges from Valley Forge Toastmasters International for a job well done. Jack, Cass, and Bill, would you please come forward? Thank you very much. That was a difficult task, and I'm glad that you could help us really sort through the judging, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you. Thanks, Barry. Well, it's the time we've been waiting for, and yes, we do have a winner. No ties this year. But first, I'd like to announce the 3 runners-up in this year's Youth of the Year competition. When I names, would you please come forward to the podium and accept your Youth of the Year certificate? Julie Heckman, Ellen Polywoda, and John Conte. Please come forward. Now down to the final 3 students. Since each student has won a savings bond, I am, of course, unable to present them with their bonds until contacting the bank tomorrow afternoon. You will receive your Youth of the Year savings bonds on Monday at your respective high schools. And now, for 3rd place and a $50 savings bond, Linda Wu. Our place $75 savings bond winner is Robert McMullen Jr. And our 1988 Youth of the Year winner and $100 savings bond recipient is Dominique Ponzio. Let's give a great round of applause to our student advisors. Again, I wish to thank one and all for making this evening's program a special moment in our lives. Norristown Exchange Club will always continue to honor the youth of our community. After all, they are the future leaders of our country. Thank you.